Hi everybody, it's Mark Hanna, Hothead Thundermouth, once again engaging in psychological immunity from social media control. Today I bring you Hatten in Flames campaign game, and I've got 2 turns recorded here for you using the Grudge rule set. Now you'll have to see my last video if you want to understand what that is, but basically the main 2 rules that are going to apply here, there's a couple of others, but the main 2 rules are going to be no VBM freeze, basically, and also no skulking. So these counteract each other. The Germans would like to do a little bit more VBM freeze to speed up their progress. The Americans would like to engage in skulking to preserve their forces. What I found is that it's better for the Americans to stand and fight using the incremental fire table, which I highly recommend. When the American 5-factor squads fire point blank, they're doing a 10 plus 2 versus half tracks, for example. This has a good chance of pinning and or stunning them. It's not a bad attack. If you can get a 6 or less, you can get a morale check. Leave some residuals in there without fear of some tank coming in to bypass you before you can even shoot. So it makes for a better game, but the Americans, if they stand and fight, are going to lose units anyway, as you'll see in the upcoming turns that are appended to this intro. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, comment. Please have some comments for me. All help the channel. I thank you very much for watching. All right, so without any more nonsense from me, let's go ahead and start. Okay, so start of turn 2. And so we have a comment here. This is why when we play with vehicle bypass movement, how it can really affect the game. Here you can see, right here, this is a broken squad with a bazooka. Here, there's obviously a stack of 2 units, so it can't have a bazooka. Possibly they have a bazooka. Possibly they have a bazooka. But there's nothing to stop a tank from coming in to do VBM movement on this guy, realistically speaking. Go into motion, come into VBM freeze situation, and then let the infantry move up behind it and take it out. It's almost guaranteed dead, really. So, because you get a 9-2 leader up here, he's going to rush up, do that. Probably a good place to move the 9-2 would be, for example, if you can get clink, bypass here. Looks like nothing can shoot at him. This guy might be able to. This will be in VBM freeze. Shoot into that, then advance into there to DM that. Have another guy you go in here for close combat. Now the Americans are pretty good at close combat, but they're not good at taking morale checks. So there's a lot of things that could possibly break that. Probably 6 morale squad, well before I'd ever have to get into close combat with it. So that's VBM freeze, and everybody knows how to do it. Everybody thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. Well, only in the sense that that's the tactic that you use in Advanced Squad Leader to use vehicles with infantry in urban settings. This is just not something that would be done. It'd be way too dangerous. These guys would have to come in closed-topped, buttoned up to prevent small arms fire from taking them out. They wouldn't possibly be able to see what kind of infantry's in there. And it'd just be too risky for the vehicles. It's a wasted asset. They would instead stay back, maybe park here, and do some firing. Maybe send some infantry in to scout, search, see if there's something there. Okay? So fixing VBM freeze fixes it on the attacker side. Skulking fixes it on the defender side. So, I think we have a more realistic game. So let's play out this second turn of the German advance. Germans are coming in with their remaining vehicles there and there, and they'll be continuing their infantry sweep from these guys here around this way. Notice the American spotting round on a pre-registered hex. The Germans know it's pre-registered. So they have to be careful of what that could do to them. Okay? But the Germans also have an artillery request over here, threatening these guys advancing here. And probably what I'll do is I'll move it back towards this direction to threaten a run this way, funnel them into the buildings where they want to go anyway. And then I have this is the German pre-registered hex. 50% chance of landing on it. So, playing a little bit of artillery chess here. And, yeah, it's an exciting game. Great campaign game. Hatten in Flames. All right, started turn 2. Okay, so turn 2, Germans are finished. And as you can see, they've continued their advances here along this edge. However, they did lose a couple of guys here broken in this stack, a 9-2 and stuff, from long-range fire from over here. There was a goodly stack in there. I need to get that out of there. The HMG set up a fire lane that made it hard for them to cross. So they're inching their way across. But as you can see, the American artillery is ready to pounce. And it's going to hit those Panthers, probably, at least one of them. So, however, one Panther's got a bead on this Panther in the square area there. Got a bead on this guy. So, probably going to lose that. However, the Americans got a lucky shot on the Stug over here from the Baz carrier, who then broke himself because he rolled a 1 on the colored die in order to hit that Stug. That guy's gone. So that American's gone. There's a broken American. So the Americans, as usual, are taking casualties along the way. Germans are pressing forward on the southern, I don't know if it's a southern flank, it's more of the western flank. Still not going after the, decided there's a lot of nonsensical fighting that goes on for that too early, so I decided to skip it for turn 1. We can always get it on turn 2. It's really indefensible for the Americans to try to do anything about it too early. So, pretty much on schedule. Casualties. The Germans did lose an armored leader and a tank and another leader. And the Americans are taking casualties along the way. It tends to be a pretty bloody scenario. So what we're going to see now is the Americans will be coming in off the edge of the map towards there. No vehicle bypass was done, just straight up shooting. Yeah, I did take a few half-tracks off the map, including the stunned half-track AK machine gun. I didn't want to risk losing the crew. Just take it off. It'll unstun, and it'll be ready for next turn. So, skulking possibilities. There's one here. So the Americans, if they advance out of there, will have a skulk marker put on that building, and they won't be able to go back. So, looks like a good opportunity to vacate the position to me, although they do have a machine gun bearing down on that road, so they're probably going to take that shot and try to put up a fight. This machine gun in the second level of this Gare du Houton, the train station, might have a shot over here. Nah, it's not going to be able to see anything. So that's usually used to garrison and protect against movement over here, but there's not going to be any. So they'll probably move down and try to help out the defense. Okay, so pretty standard outcome for turn 2 German. We'll do the American turn now and do another quick video, and up it'll go. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the Americans have finished their turn, and we had a successful stand right here where I did not skulk out but hunkered down. And as it turned out, it just didn't make sense for the German 548 sitting there in the Rue Principale to attack. It would have been a 10 plus 5. Not a good chance of doing anything. I didn't want to activate a sniper, so I neglected to do the attack. Oh, this guy over here, though, he would have had an 8 up 5. Same thing. I couldn't have joined forces. So that worked out well. Over here, although I lost half a squad, I was able to ambush and kill one of those ACAC half-tracks, so that's a good riddance to that. And so the defense over here is holding strong, but I did have to pull back out of that building in the advance phase as the Germans are starting to get a beat on me with a 75 millimeter, and Americans really can't take that. They can barely take a morale check. Just, it's really hard. So moved out of the foxhole and into the Temp Neuf. I dropped a mortar in there and moved into here. As you can see, the Panther did a number and killed that tank destroyer as expected. But this got immobilized by artillery. The artillery immobilized that other Panther, so that'll have to try to be repaired. Over here, the artillery did a pretty good job breaking up some Germans here, whereas the German artillery has come down on its pre-registered hex and forced the Americans to scatter a little bit. That was the intent. Next turn, my player turn 3, I'll be able to put it there. Hopefully it will scatter someplace and have some effect. And I won't be able to see it, though, because there's smoke in the way from the guy who got toasted here. So I won't be able to. Plus there's although actually, that would be down the road, so that would not affect the placement, would it? Good. So there's no way, though, it'll be accurate. But an FFE in the way might be what I need. I need to get some Germans up into here. All that's holding them back from this building complex at this point is simply it's a crew, really. So Germans are going to get into that building, those buildings. Americans into those. Quite exciting battle on that flank. Germans will be now hooking around to come into this area. This area will now come into play for sort of a firefight. It's always a tough battle in there to edge out the Americans or the Germans, really. It's a real back and forth mess inside this orchard tree complex. Germans will try to get a jump on it, but American tanks are coming in on turn 3 and they can mess that whole thing up. All I've got now is a Panther over here to face 3 Shermans. That's not a good fight, not a fair fight. I do have a Stug over here that could come and help with that. So there's another Stug way over here not doing much of anything. So I might bring it back to assault the center. So I would say at the end of this American turn 2, the Americans have a slight edge here. Casualties, they've taken out 2 vehicles and 2 leaders. Americans have lost more infantry and one of their tank destroyers, so give it to the Germans on casualty points, but positionally, I think the Americans are in a little bit better shape, particularly since the steeple, the level 2 steeple, the only level 2 building on the map, has been rubbled, and I can't put a couple of nice heavy machine guns in there to rake away at Americans coming across the plain here. So the Germans will have to put more in their front lines to fight off Americans, and there's a lot of Americans that come in. Right, so that's the situation. Turn 3 will begin. Germans will continue to try to take these, and they got to cut off the Americans here. They need to get a tank or something to cut off movement along there to keep the Americans out of there. I don't know if they can. I think there'll be a fight for the K-17 building myself. Hard for them to stop that. The artillery just can't get a good shot on that. Neither really can the American artillery. So American artillery did a job. German artillery might do a job. Okay, that's all I have to say. I'm going to upload turns 1 and 2 and see what you guys think. Thanks a lot for watching.